Okay, I just tried to film this video and I tried to open it with a cute little freestyle song. It didn't quite work out though, and I didn't want to start the video that way. I'm kind of between this conflict where I want to just do the entire video just like in one clear shot, and just be okay with the mistakes, just the classic, is it tuck and roll or duck and roll? I don't know. I just want to roll with the punches. But then if it's at the very beginning of the video, I don't feel that bad about stopping it. I'm sure I'm going to make some really lame mistake in the middle of one of these videos, and I'm going to say, man, I wish that I could stop it, but I'm in too deep now. You might notice that my voice is a bit different from how it usually is. This is my morning voice. I don't know if it's bad for it to be talking on it, like, without warming it up, but, I think it sounds a lot nicer than my regular voice. And people tend to like my regular voice, so what you gonna do? Oh, the other day, my last video, there was a part where I was slurping some water, and it really, really got the sound, like, super HD, HD sound, if that's a thing. My apologies for that, unless it, kind of turned you on a little bit, in which case I'm gonna start a whole OF only for you. So I went to a party on Friday. It's been a while since I've been to a real party. That's not entirely true. There was one earlier this summer, but it was mostly outdoors for obvious reasons. This one was indoors, and we all had to show our proof of vaccination before going inside. And it was an actor's social. But I take any opportunity to be around people and under the influence of some booze. As you know, I take that very excitedly. So before I even went inside, I knew that they were going to be selling alcohol, but I brought my own beer and I chugged it in the car. But after I was done driving, and then I did not drive until I was well sobered up. I literally waited a few hours after I left the party. I just walk aimlessly around the neighborhood because I like doing that anyway. But I drank a beer in the car to make sure I was already is like my pre-op, my social pre-op. It was a little bit, as I was drinking and I was like, is this really what I have to do? But then I get inside and I see all the people. I'm like, yep, and I haven't had enough yet. So I went over to the bar and started drinking some more. That's most of the reason why I even drink alcohol these days. Most of the reason. It's to be around people, to smooth out my rough edges, to calm my social anxiety a bit. I'm told there are other ways to do it. I know for a fact that there are. But in a situation like this, it's just like, that was the quick solution. And we all know that quick solutions are the best way around in life. But yeah, parties. They've sort of been, I really do, I feel like everybody says this, I have such a love-hate relationship with parties. Let me talk about the bad first, so that I can, move into what I really like about parties. The bad part about parties is that you feel like you're under a microscope. You feel like you have to present the best version of yourself. You're a salesman, but it's for yourself, or salesperson, sales rep. You're coming in with a product, which is yourself, that you are trying to peddle to people. Not in the sense that, like, they're literally going to buy you. If you're at certain parties, like I've been to, you really do quite literally sell your body in that way. Get some wild experiences you wouldn't have had otherwise. You tell your therapist about it for years. But no, you're selling yourself, and you're not accepting money. You're accepting approval. You're accepting people having a good thought about you. Like in the future, somebody could bring up your name and another person be like, "Oh yeah, I remember Joe. I remember that cool thing he did at that party once. He said this really funny, wacky thing to me, and it was he was just the life of the whole thing." You want to be that person. Problem is, party doesn't really care about what's going on in your life and whether or not you're ready to present yourself in that way. And nobody has any context. You're not going to go around explaining to people if you've had a bad day and you're not really in a party mood, but you came here kind of because you felt like you needed to. I mean, that just makes it worse. Explaining yourself, it's funny. Explaining yourself is, by and large, it seems like the thing that's going to make everybody cool with you, but it actually makes people less cool with you. It seems like, oh, I'll just explain myself and then suddenly everybody will be comfortable. No, they get more uncomfortable when you bring up that stuff about yourself. I think being honest about your insecurities it's charming, but you really have to do it in a presentational kind of way most of the time. It's rough. It's rough. So yeah, it stinks that you just feel like you have to be like, because like maybe for 3% of the day, you literally are as charming as you act throughout the full 3 hours of this party. So you better save all your charming energy for this one particular event, because you're gonna need it. I don't know. Another thing that I don't like about parties, we all just get into our groups immediately. I don't like that at parties it's a group event and doesn't have a lot of group activities most of the time. I mean, and if they are group activities, this was an actors social, so it was semi a professional event. It didn't stop me from taking advantage of that bar, but I wasn't really there to network, to be honest with you. I was just there to see some people that I knew and have a good time. And maybe some people that I vaguely knew and, like, you know, plant my little seed of charm. Not a literal seed, that'd be gross. But yeah, I don't like that at like a college party or something, the only real group activity anybody ever does is a drinking game. I try to change that. I try to, if there's ever a group of people that I'm pretty cool with, I'll like say, hey, there are these cool campfire activities called like Embers, where it's a little bit of self-reflection. It can still be fun, but we talk about, I think it puts everybody in a good mood sometimes to talk about what's like a goal you have for like a year from now. That's a prompt that I use a lot. It's like, hey, 1 year from now, think about 1 year from today, one thing, and you have this accomplished, and you look back and say, hey, that was a good year because I got this thing done. And people usually light up and you really learn stuff about each other. And then we can go back, you know, there's nothing wrong with a drinking game. I've had fun at drinking games. In small doses. I mean, there's definitely a point where I'm like, okay, I would really rather just nurse my own beer at my own rate than feel this anxiety of, oh God, I gotta chug this in front of everybody, and I know I'm gonna cough up a little bit, and it's gonna go on my shirt, but I can't look like I'm backing down. Yeah, I feel like we just kind of go into our little circles otherwise. If you don't make an effort to sort of amalgamate. Is that the right word? Yeah, sort of get mixed in with different groups. I like just butting my head in, maybe not with complete strangers, but with a lot of people that I only sort of vaguely know. There were these girls that I only had like one acting class with, and I just go in and join their conversation. And it was fun. It was fun. The presentational side of me is just, it's super hit or miss. It's memorable. I think at the very least, it's always memorable. And I think at my core, that's what I care most about. I don't necessarily care about you thinking, oh man, Joe Cullen was a great person anymore. I want you to remember me. And if you remember me because I was kind of weird, I don't want to outright like piss you off or make you angry or like seriously offend you. Because I don't want to, I mean, we all know those people that like have to get, like the host has to say, please leave. I'm never going to be that person. But I'm going to go up and say something weird, play to some reality some alternate reality that doesn't exist and have people kind of be like, or maybe ask just like a weird question. I love asking people, what's your opinion on lamps? I have this lamp tattoo, and I partially got that because that was my go-to stupid question senior year of college. What's your opinion on lamps? And I ask it very sincerely and passionately and expecting a response from you. And conversely, if I want to decide who's my enemy and who's my friend, I'll ask, so you need to light up a room. Do you use a lamp? Or do you use the overhead light? Most people say it depends. For me, it doesn't depend. Always a lamp. A lamp is always better than an overhead light. The overhead light is too much. Maybe because of my light sensitivity, it's just too much. I don't need the whole room illuminated. I like that with a lamp, I can pinpoint where I want luminescence, and only that part of the room will be luminesced. Kind of reminds me of the word finessed. I feel like I should be putting my hands through my hair. My hat hair is looking great today. My key until I'm filming a music video, and after that I'm going to shave my head completely bald like I do about every 6 months. Until that music video is finished filming, I can't do that, but I can't have my hair be the little poof ball that it is either. So I go take a shower, I dry off, and then I immediately put a hat on my head for a few hours. Another thing I don't like about parties is that I'm never sure when I'm supposed to leave. I always fear that, like, if I don't stay this little bit of extra time, then I'm gonna miss out on like the best part of the party that everybody will be talking about tomorrow. I gotta stay but the thing is, there's always plenty of people. You know, there are some people at parties that just somehow don't need sleep and aren't yawning and aren't watching their watch at all. Those people that could just be up till like literally, it could just be up until I've gone to a party with a girl that, like, I don't even know if she got a single wink of sleep, and she was going on a date super early in the morning the next day, and she was just cool. She just was like, okay, cool, sip a little coffee, do a little dance, make a little love, get down tonight. You know how these things go. Yeah, I have a pretty consistent, like, I'm no granny about my bedtime. I can push it by a few hours, but I've literally pushed myself 6 or 7 hours past when I wanted to go to bed for people. And I'm just wondering, why am I doing that? Is it just because I don't want to be the loser that misses out on, like, again, I swear, just the best part of the party is waiting. And that's silly, because I see perfectly cool, respectable people swing by for like half an hour or an hour and they leave, and they're not worried about their missed opportunity. What they call in economics the opportunity cost. There's no such thing as a free lunch, because when you go to get that free lunch, you're passing up on, I don't know, going to a baseball game, or doing your taxes, or unclogging the toilet. There's this other stuff that you can do with your time no matter what. I think maybe that just shows that I don't view my time as valuable. Yeah, I don't always view my personal time as valuable, because I do waste a good portion of it. I do some good therapeutic personal work. I have some personal projects going on that I've been kind of slacking on. And I guess it's typically when I'm slacking on those projects the most that I'm looking for other people and other things to fill it in. You know, fill in that extra time that I would have been spending toward them. It's kind of a bummer. I want to just be able to confidently put my foot down and say, hey, I've been here for 3 hours. I think I've gotten what I'm going to out of this party. Up to this point, it's going to be some diminishing returns with my personality. So I'm going to get out of here. I guess I also, you know, I'm a people pleaser. I worry that, like, there will be somebody that I really like at the party that I didn't happen to get by and say hi to. And I just hate that feeling. Maybe that's not even a part of being a people pleaser. It's just a part of, like, I don't know. When I have any fragment of a social connection, I wanna water it and nurture it, just like, a seed in the ground. I want to make sure that person knows that I care about them, even if we don't know each other very well. Like, hey, you've acknowledged my existence in a positive way, and I've acknowledged your existence in a positive way back. That's cool. We don't get a ton of people in this world that are going to do that. The vast majority of people in this world are never going to acknowledge us at all. And we got to, for a little bit, not only know each other, but think about each other in a positive light. Sweet, right? That's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. Checking the microphone again. I'm going to keep doing that compulsively. That's what always happens. I make a mistake once, and then I compulsively make sure that I don't do it again for the rest of my life. But I always leave parties just like half fulfilled, half kind of empty. Because I do feel like I just played this game for everybody. And there's nothing wrong with playing a game. There's nothing wrong with having a persona. But just acknowledge what it is. And just acknowledge that, just have fun. If you are going to have a persona, have fun with it. I mean, that's why I'm an actor. That's why I like acting. Enjoy yourself. And not everybody's going to see the real you. And that's okay. I like what David Foster Wallace said. Of course you have to put on a front. Of course, not everybody's going to know exactly what's, beneath all this, beneath this facade. Even the people that claim to be, I can think of some celebrities that just really speak their mind and just deal with the consequences, and that's great. There's still little teensy parts of their subconscious that maybe they're not even aware of. Nobody acts out a perfect representation of who they are. And so don't strive for that perfection. I think it means a lot to people that you went out somewhere. I mean, we've all been to a party where there was somebody who party was really not their thing, but they sat by for a little while. You came by and talked to them, they would talk to you. And then, after a little while, it wasn't there, they just leave. And we don't hate those people. We don't think, oh, well, they must hate us. I don't know why it just feels now like the party person is the person to be. For me, it probably goes back to high school, just the fact that I didn't really get invited to parties. I hope that drinking sound was extra disgusting. But yeah, I didn't really get invited to parties, and then I would just hear about some wacky thing that some people did. But looking back on it, I mean, I don't think I really would want to go to those parties. I can't really think of a single person that standard party crowd person. We could have been best friends if only I had. It doesn't really work like that. It's a specific kind of person that goes to parties all the time. A party here and there, sure, all of us want that sometimes. But I believe it is sort of like the absence makes the heart grow fonder. The longer time that I have between seeing a whole lot of people, and obviously with 2020, not a whole lot of big events going on. So I think that's why these ones felt a little bit more, enriched experience. So let's talk about what I like about parties. I feel like I've sort of, I'm ready to appreciate you now that I have gotten out what frustrates me about you. I really like melting pots. I like a whole bunch of different ideas in the same place. I sometimes just like walking around a party and listening to little glimmer of this conversation. Oh, they're talking about their trip to Cabo. A little bit of this conversation. No, they're talking about their new cat. A little bit of this conversation. At an actor's social. Oh, I just booked this role. Another conversation. Oh, I'm directing this show. You should come see it. That's really neat. I like that there's so much going on. And I have to remind myself, especially at an actor's social, or maybe not actors. I don't remember exactly what it was called. It was people in front of and behind the camera or the stage, whatever. It's just like, I have to remind myself, we're all trying for more or less the same thing. We maybe don't all have the same goals with what we're doing. I try to sit on this high horse where I separate myself from people and say, well, I have much more noble performance goals than you do. No, I don't. No, I don't. They're maybe different, maybe a little bit anti-conformist even, but we're all seeking fulfillment through creativity and performance. I am not unique in the fact that I like to perform, okay? Like, stop thinking of yourself as being so special in that way, Joe. Other people get the same bug from it, and a lot of them are being more active than you are because they're not sitting around thinking about how they're being more noble. They don't think, oh, I'm too good to audition for this thing. They go and audition for the darn thing. I know I'm talking a little bit about, my performer's party, but, let's bring it back to college for a little bit. We're all in the same boat of just like, hey, this is a weird time in life. We are all here living on our own without our parents for the first time. Even if it's 3 or 4 years in, it still feels a little bit new to you. It's still pretty novel. And we're here to get grades, and we really want those grades to be as good as possible. But we are not willing to sacrifice fun. We're not willing to sacrifice people. Those things are still very vital parts of our lives. And yes, sometimes grades feel like the most important thing in the world. But we all came here to enjoy the fact that there are other people in this world. Other people like that diversity. I'm not special in that regard either. I think, oh, well, my problems are, way beyond these people's sometimes. Man, when I'm doing that, I'm just being... I don't know. I'm sure that we've all felt that way before. There's a line from Bob's Burgers that's like, Gene says, "My life is harder than anybody else's in the world. And yes, I am including starving children in Africa, so do not even ask." I just think that's funny. I mean, I know that that's an exaggeration, but I mean, it's not really, because a lot of us think that way, even if we're not going to vocalize it. Like, at least Gene's honest about it. I look at people at parties sometimes and think, well, you just don't understand me because, I don't know, you're not good enough to enter my little world. You don't see the world the way that I do. If you saw the world the way that I do, you would see the accuracy, of how I think. And so, if I have a problem, it's a real problem. If you got a problem, oh, boo-hoo, Get over yourself. There's always some reason why somebody else's problems are not as big as mine, or somebody's life is easier. And for a little while at parties, I forget about that. Now. It took a while of being a cynical butthead in college. But it is nice. It is nice seeing people. And it is nice. People are willing to open up a little bit, especially with a little bit of sippy. Or maybe it's just the environment. Maybe it's just because it's the end of the week and they are so done putting up this facade at work. When you really get to talk to people personally at parties. I said we go around sort of advertising the best version of ourselves, but you get some really great conversation in parties where people are willing to be more real than they've ever been with you before, or than you've ever been able to hear, because you just don't get them in that spotlight, especially as an adult. I mean, we don't get a lot of people to really spend our free time with. What is free time even? A lot of us don't even get free time. So sometimes you just learn a little thing here and there that's like, wow, that's a struggle that you've had that I couldn't even comprehend because I've not gone through it. And you seem so well put together and I wouldn't have guessed. That's cool. Or hey, this is a dream that you have? Oh dude, I had no idea. Dude, that's awesome. That's awesome. Or, Oh, that's what you do for a living. Okay. Okay. Wow. You're actually really accomplished. Holy heck. I try to let in those scenarios, I try to let the jealousy I'll touch on you a little bit later. Like there was a person in my acting class who was a physical therapist. Actually not a physical therapist anymore. She's a boss of a bunch of other physical therapists, and she's also a physical therapist. So it's like, ooh, jealousy brain really wants to go overboard. Really close friend of mine that I made in the past year recently told me that he said something like, if I miss a day of work, that's like missing $600. That's like what I make in a week, homie. And just remembering, hey, that person was the same person before you found out they were in a well-paying job. Or before you found out that they got this really cool opportunity that you didn't get. And guess what? You're still the same person. You might be thinking, I just don't like them being better than me. No, it's that you don't like feeling worse. And you're not worse. So don't even worry about it. Just have fun. Just have fun. I wonder if it's in here. I have this bag. I call this, well, they're sort of my party favors, but I really call them my social defense, because I decided recently, like, I need a thing. I have plenty of things already, like little quirks and little inside jokes that people know me for, but I decided I just need another, because I need people to remember me for any number of reasons. I have this. It's a little plastic coin, and I got a bag of about 400 of these. And I started handing these out at parties. Not just at parties, just sort of like when I'm ever in any sort of close social gathering. Mostly that's just acting class and rehearsal with people. Occasionally, like, go to a friend's thing and they'll have some other friends there. But yeah, I've been handing out these little coins. And everybody always asks, I don't think the same way as most people. Dude, if somebody came up to me and handed me this, I would just take it. I would just be like, oh, right on, thank you. I would maybe even make some little joke about it. Bring my own little inside joke to their thing that they gave me. But a lot of people, I give it to them and instantly, dude, I gave it to this one guy at a bar. I just set it on his table and his crew just looked at me, just stared. And I was like, you want to do me a favor and keep that safe for me? I want to keep playing up my joke, but like, what is it? Like, it's just a little plastic. I'm sorry. Please don't hurt me. And I've had a lot of people just act equally suspicious, even if not like the like violence like I was worried about. They didn't get violent with me. They actually ended up being really nice. At that bar later that night, I lost my keys, and they actually helped me find it. And then they later I brought this stupid little snail puppet. I wish I had him in here. I brought him out to the bar with me, and they were like, hey, can we take some pictures with your puppet? I was like, yeah! So all ended up okay. And I swear it's because the magic of this coin. It's my little charm inducer. Yeah. Which I think they call just a charm generally. This is my magic charm. But yeah, other people ask that question. They're just like, what is this for? Okay. And a lot of the time, okay. Gonna try not to get too mad about this. It's weird. Somebody you don't know just gave you a coin with a dollar sign on it. I understand that's an unusual thing, okay? But would you ever... A person gives you this. I get that it's not valuable. It's just a little piece of plastic. But a person gives you this thing. Would you ever, right in front of them, set it down and walk away from it like you're not going to take it? Or would you ever say no thanks? Like, what do you think I'm up to with this? What do you think this is? Do you think there's a little tracking device in it that I'm going to be like, I mean, I guess hypothetically in this world you can't be too safe with your privacy. I'm actually Edward Snowden's evil twin brother. But we're fraternal. I don't know what that... We're not identical is what I'm trying to say. He's a lot better looking than I am. Or at least he owns his nerdiness outwardly. I have kind of an appearance that, like, you can't tell sort of what group I fall into. Maybe that's why I have a hard time at parties. But yeah, no, I'm not trying to track you with this thing. It's just a fun little thing that I do, okay? okay? Can you just make me feel happy and just take my stupid little plastic coin? Is it that big of a deal? I have to be honest, part of the reason why I raised my voice so much during that rant about my coin, though it does make me passionate, is because my bark was dogging really loudly outside. My dog was barking loudly, and it was getting on my nerves, and I didn't want it to be the total attention grabber of that little spiel. Because honestly, why do I do this? Why do I do this? I want people to have something to remember. I wanna hold them like they do in Texas, please. Is that the lyrics? Anyway, I want people to have something to remember me by. Beneath all the fun and jokes that I'll make about it, I just like everybody having a little piece of me, and they can associate it with me somehow. And it's just a goofy little disposable thing. You can throw it out, do whatever you want to with it. But yeah, I just like leaving people with something. And I know that, like, I'm going to leave people with something if I just, talk to them for a little bit. They'll have some little memory of me, whether they want it or not. That memory of that time when Joe exposed himself. Nah, I'm kidding. Only happened 15 times. Yeah, but I know for a fact that, like, if you walk away with this thing, you took something away from me being there. And isn't that what we all hope for the most in this world? Is like, we left an impression that there's some sign that we were even here. Because we're not going to be here someday. Any of us. We are going to lose everything. As much as we build up all the safety that we can, there's no real safety from dying. And so all you can do is try to spread your roots as much as possible. I think a lot about famous people who weren't as famous, or maybe weren't famous at all before they died. A big one I think of is this guy named Nick Drake. Beautiful. My gosh, just a... I didn't think about it till I just said his name just now, just like how emotional he gets me. His album, Pink Moon. It's so beautiful and so, like, just introspective. I almost called it depressing, but I think Anthony Fantano made a really good video about why, it's not the fact that something's depressing that makes you connect with it. It's the fact that, depressing theme notwithstanding, they just had a really eloquent way of putting their words. Or they wrote some really lovely melody, or their voice was... Oh, God. Nick Drake's voice just gets me. It just gets me. And he was not successful in his lifetime, and I believe he took his own life. And then he didn't get popular. I think he died in the 70s, and he didn't get popular until like the late 90s. And that was when we finally started appreciating his stuff. So I guess that's comforting to know sometimes, is that you don't necessarily need a prize to know that your work could still really inspire some people. Nick Drake actually was so under the radar that there isn't a single video of him anywhere. It's just wacky to think about. I mean, I know that it was the 70s, so not everybody was like filming themselves constantly, but I mean, you can find concert footage of the silliest, stupidest one-hit wonders Or of bands who are just pretending to be those one-hit wonders, which actually used to be fairly common. Like a studio song is recorded, and then they just grab a band that looks good enough to represent it, because it's not really a band, it's just like a studio project. It's funny. It's just really funny. There are so many people, all the people in the world that have some video of them somewhere, and a guy whose music is now pretty acclaimed, and I don't know how well known he is, but he's not unheard of. You know, Rolling Stone has him on like their like best albums all time and stuff like that. He doesn't have a video of himself anywhere in existence. So I don't get to see what his likeness was at all. I don't get to know anything about his personality from him, from the horse's mouth. I mean, I can read stuff all that I want to, but I don't know how much anybody tampered with it. There's nothing that really gives you the direct, I don't know, just essence of a person, like their actual physical presence. And I know people can lie about it. They put up fronts all the time. I was just talking all about that. But you can at least sort of, like, you don't know what they're thinking in their head, but you know, like, if I was in this person's presence, how would they be acting right now? Yeah. Dude, okay, I'm gonna get kind of morbid for a second here. I am working on a music video for a 10-minute song. The whole process has taken about 6 months, and in total will have cost me about $1,000, which I'm no billionaire, let me tell you. And it's sort of just, I wanted it to just really encapsulate everything about my personality this far in life, and everything about my artistry at this moment. And I mean, I end it with this big long spiel of saying I'm going away about a trillion times. And, well, a trillion, I mean, I think it might be just fewer than that. I think I might say it like 10 times. But the whole last verse is just me talking about how I'm leaving to like somewhere beyond. And I guess I wrote that because, you know, if this is the last thing that I ever do, for whatever reason, like, this is a good final chapter to my career that hasn't even started, that nobody's really tuned into all that much. See, the problem is, you know, a lot of artists like Hayao Miyazaki have said so many times that they're leaving, and I feel like every rapper these days is retiring, like every week, and then like 2 months later they come out with their album that they said they weren't going to do. I wonder how much of that is posturing, like building up the hype for your next album, like it was the album that wasn't even supposed to be. But I also wonder how much of that is just like, no, dude, the creative bug was still inside you, and you made that final project, and there was some little like creative thing that you touched upon there that you were like, oh wow, I could really expand on that. I had never thought to do that before, and I only kind of did it here, but I could do a whole album or a whole movie or a whole canvas painting, whatever, of just that thing. Like, darn, I wish that I had thought of that, you know, more in depth before I made this final project. Well, that's okay. I'm gonna just release this, but then you have that little itch at you, like, no, you could go further, you could go deeper, you could do so much more. So I don't think I'm ever gonna want to announce that what I'm doing is the last thing possible. But I want to, I guess, make everything as though it could be. I mean, I did that with my very first tape. It's called Sanctities. It was only 10 minutes long, and it was a full, concise. It was abstract, but it was a full, concise concept album in 10 minutes. Each song, it was 5 songs of 2 minutes, and I was like, man, if I don't ever release anything else, like, at least this is a concise note to end on. Not saying it's the best thing that I could ever make, but at least it's a full, coherent, put together thing. I want to leave all my art projects like that, as much as possible. So anyway, back to parties. If you see me handing one of these out, don't ask a single question, because I'm kind of losing my patience for that, to be honest with you. I am getting a stun gun for, I call them the no-coiners. Except Joe Coin, because it's going to be worth a lot someday, let me tell you. It's popping off any minute now. I saw one, I tried to give it to one girl. She was like, no, I don't want to take that because I've been seeing you do that with everybody. And I don't know, that could have mean one or two things. Like, one, I'm up to something by handing these out to all these people. Again, with like, maybe I'm tracking their data. Maybe it's a tiny explosive. But then the other thing is that maybe she just wanted to feel special. And not having her own individual looking coin, or the fact that I had done it with so many other people, just didn't fly with her. That's an interesting idea. Because I mean, usually when I obviously couldn't do it with this bag of 400 coins, but like when I give out party favors, like I brought this bag of, I was going to a party with a bunch of people that I didn't know very well. So I went to the Dollar Tree and I got a bag of like 15, I bought 15 little $1 Beanie Babies, and I handed them all out as party favors. And I made sure not to get two of the same animal, because that would have just been an insult, in my opinion, if two people got the exact same animal. I wanted to make sure that every single person got their own individual. So for a couple minutes, I shuffled through, all these Beanie Babies. They're not Beanie Babies because they was the Dollar Tree and they can't use the name brand, or else they have to mark it up $3 for no reason. The Dollar Tree actually charges you what they would charge if they were only trying to make a little modest profit off of it, because the cost of making it is well under $1. Anyway, I sorted through all these Dollar Tree Beanie Babies to make sure that 15 people would have 15 different animals. They even had some same animals of the same color. That wasn't good enough for me. I needed to make sure that it was a different animal each time. Even sometimes, or they had a dog that looks like this, and they have another dog that looks kind of like this. Like, they're two different breeds of dogs. I'm like, it's still a dog, It still doesn't fly with me. I gave everybody an individual, unique, catered experience. And they have to thank me for the rest of their days. I don't know how many of them even remember my name at this point, because it was pretty late into the party and people have been drinking and doing other stuff for a while. But again, if they kept it, that's the only thing about mementos is like I said, they could just toss it out the window right away if they wanted to. But if they kept that stuffed animal, it's always something that I did. And if even just one did, like I said, 15 people or whatever, if even just one of them, that'd be pretty cool. That would be pretty solid. You know what made parties a lot easier for about 2 years? Having a girlfriend who was like there with you. I mean, for one thing, I mean, if we're showing off our status at a party, having a girl on your arm, I mean, that automatically gives you at least some baseline of status, doesn't it? You got another female. You got a female interested in you, or a boyfriend. I mean, I don't want to... Having a significant other with you. You had somebody interested enough in you to dedicate part of their life to you. Hey, that's cool. Yeah. Yeah. And whether, you might have that, you might not, but like, I'm at least in the same boat as the people that do. So, yeah, I got this girl on my arm. And then also, it's guaranteed conversation. When you go to a party alone, you're going to expect a lot of lulls in your conversation, where you're sitting there, You can't see it because I'm wearing sunglasses. Looking around. Just waiting for like somebody to not only come up to you, but like come up to you with some sort of like substantial conversation. And that's also the point when you think about maybe I should just leave. Like not tell it. I've heard it called the French exit, and I've heard it called the Irish exit. I don't know why there needs to be a name for it. Can't we just call it being antisocial? Although I hear that antisocial is actually like is a specific like disorder, and that word is really misused. Can't we just call it being socially anxious? Or on some those nights, can't we just call it being a loser, or at least feeling like a loser? But when you got a lovely lady right next to you, oh, there's nobody to talk to. Hey, let's talk about, hey, remember this inside joke? Oh yeah, what's up? We can get each other genuinely laughing, bringing up some old stuff. You know, we can get each other hyped and feel, you know, more excited about the fact that we're here. I think that guys, when we go to a party together, I don't know, we're not always, I think you and your crew should be excited about one another, and you should spend a good amount of time being, you know, doing, in a platonic way, doing what you do when you bring a girl to a party. When there's a lull in the conversation, we talk to each other, we laugh, we get each other hyped up, and guess what? The people around you, they see that. And they're like, oh wow, these guys have established a really deep connection. And that's inspiring to them, and that makes you more magnetic when it shows that, hey, I have some deep quality relationships. So, I mean, a girlfriend is one thing. It really is, I mean, it really is your little lifeline. I mean, but I understand. Like, so you go to a party with a group of boys. One of them sees like, oh, dude, that's my friend from like lacrosse that you guys don't know. I'm gonna go over and talk to him because I don't get to talk to him as much as I get to talk to you. Another guy, oh, pretty girl from this one class that I have. Maybe tonight's my night. Let's go. So I understand the breaking up, but I think it is important to remember, hey guys, we came together. We don't necessarily need to leave together, but at our core, we have each other. Am I preaching about like how you can have the best friendship with me? Well, I'm pitching it right now. I'm gonna put an ad on Craigslist saying, hey, come be my best friend. Because I got a lot of ideals about how you're gonna act. And you better live up to those ideals perfectly, or else I'm gonna start resenting you. There's a really great book called The Road Less Traveled, and this guy writes about how, you know, the honeymoon phase with people. He talks about romantic relationships, but I think it applies to all relationships. In the honeymoon phase, what you are really doing is convincing yourself that this person is you. Literally, they're you. They are an extension of you. And it feels comforting, and it feels liberating. And the reason why you think that, I mean, probably for good reason. You met this person and you had a lot of things in common with them. You guys operate and communicate at a similar wavelength. You got energy that just like matches. And so it's natural that a part of your brain is like, this is just me. I am me when I am with this person. Then you realize, you know, after a little while, that you got differences. Because people got differences. You have an argument for the first time. Somebody really disappoints you. Maybe you just have different ideas about what you want to do with your free time. Starts off usually with a small thing that just gives you a little taste of, oh, this person is not me. And then what do you do with that once you realize that? A lot of people take any sort of, any sort of like indication that like, hey, maybe we're not a sitcom relationship, or maybe this isn't like a ride or die friendship, as like, well, maybe I shouldn't talk to this person at all. But I think that we only do that because we put such enormous expectations on them in the first place. I'm kind of done putting expectations on people. I don't expect too much out of people anymore. Maybe that's because I got disappointed so much. Maybe that's because, I think it's a mix with people. Maybe that's because I've had a lot of people really disappoint me. Because of, it was their actions, and then it was also my expectations, is that I put too high of expectations on people. So I guess I don't want to have no expectations. Expectations is a weird word. Hey, I expect this thing to happen. I used to go to this meditation community, and this woman described it as premeditated disappointment. And I think that's perfect. Premeditated disappointment. You are going to be disappointed because life is not going to meet your expectations perfectly. But we still have needs. And so, I don't know. I guess these days, I'm easing into relationships for the most part. And I'm willing to hang out with you as much as I want to hang out with you. Or, talk to you on the phone, whatever it is. Connect with you in some way. As long as I'm willing to. As long as I feel like it's, benefiting me. But I don't want to be at least I'm trying not to. I have a habit of falling in love with girls when they say anything nice to me. I'm trying not to be hey, we had the teensiest little bit of a moment there. We're going to get married and we're going to have 2 kids and you're going to support me so well in my career. I mean, I'll support you in your career as I can fit it into my schedule, but you'll support, you have these ridiculous ideas for how people are going to support you. Bringing it back to parties, I feel like it started off with parties and it's just gone into general relationships and personas and stuff like that. I want to have realistic expectations when I go to a party. Hey, Joe, here's my expectation. My expectation is we're going to walk through that door and we're going to at least mosey around the crowd a little bit. And we don't have to stay for very long. We certainly don't have to stay for hours. If we feel compelled to, the party surprises us like that. Not necessarily surprise, but just yanks us in. Yeah, I want to stay at this party and talk to all these people. That's great. But don't expect that it's gonna do that for you. Maybe the reason why I'd get disappointed at parties in college a lot was I went into it thinking this is gonna liberate me. I'm gonna have a really strong connection with somebody tonight, or a lot of people, and then I'm gonna leave this feeling not quite so lonely. I'm putting that kind of pressure on a gathering, on a couple hours of a gathering, a couple hours of the week. There's a good chance you're gonna get disappointed. Not always. There were some parties that rocked my socks, but yeah. Yeah, you put that kind of expectation that it's going to finally liberate you, that you're not going to feel... I mean, we always have the capacity to feel alone. Because we only have this one body. We only have this one consciousness. We're always going to have the capacity to feel alone, and we should not put the pressure on the party to always solve that for us. Really, we should have expectations... Again, I don't know if we should have goals for ourselves. Say hey, I'm going to do my very best. And if I leave having felt like I really gave it my best tonight at this party, playing this arbitrary little social game, which is necessary sometimes, I'm going to be okay. I'm going to be okay. This person can ignore me completely. This person cannot find my joke funny. This person could punch me in the face. And I at least won't take it like I'm a bad person. Honestly, if a person's punching me in the face, why am I going to be the one apologizing? Huh? There's nothing wrong with me in that scenario. I guess it depends on what I said. A little bit of nuance. Ask that hypothetical person who punched me, hey, what did I say to you that made you do that? And... yeah, I can think of, the darker part of my brain can think of some things that I could say that would get somebody to punch me in the face. I'm smart, though. I mean, I am kind of a people pleaser, so I don't like to say things that will get me punched in the face. Even if I know the person will not punch me in the face, it's like, what's the fun in perturbing somebody like that? Unless I really don't like them. I do hold a grudge. My whole family holds grudges. It's genetic, and I'm working on it. You know, some people in my family are in their 60s and, you know, still holding some grudges. And I like to think that I'll be mostly out of it by then. I'm sorry, my hat hair looks... it looks really good in the front, doesn't it? But then on the side, it like got this little ledge here. My friend compared it to like a man's unit. You know, like this is the very tip of it. This shirt has gotten so many coffee stains on it. I'm so happy the detergent has magically been able to get all the stains out. Because like and I don't spill coffee on myself very much. It's always when I'm wearing this shirt. It couldn't be one of my black shirts or brown shirts. It's always got to be like my white shirt. Is this white? Is it an off-white? Is it pink by now because I don't separate the colors and the whites? I don't know. Color blindness. Anyway, if I want to sum up this video, parties are useful and sometimes they're necessary. If you live your life being anti-party, the party still has control over you. It's only because you went to parties and you didn't feel fulfilled by them, and you secretly wish that you did get fulfilled by them. So don't be anti-party. Be pro-party the same way that you're like pro, I don't know, an apple. Like you're not gonna have apples every single day, I don't think. Even though they do keep the doctor away. Most people don't eat an apple a day. Maybe that's why we're all so sick. Maybe that's why we're all so sick. Yeah, you'll come across parties will come into your life, and you won't enjoy every apple that you eat. But the bad ones, you'll just throw them away and not hold a whole bunch of animosity toward the concept of apples in general. What an analogy I just used. This is why I'm a writer. This is what I took all those writing classes in college for. This is why I expect that people are going to listen to me for an hour. I'm excited for my TED Talk someday. I hope that I have something really meaningful to say that I want to share with everybody, but do not be surprised if I just use the opportunity to just troll everybody. What's his name? Reggie Watts. I mean, he just did like his comedy act, but he was, it was not what they were used to seeing at TED Talk. Let me tell you. Look that up if you don't know that. Or Sam Hyde. Oh, Sam Hyde. Today is supposed to be really hot, but right now it's really cloudy outside. So I hope I don't just end up staying indoors all day, because I've been going outdoors a lot lately, and it's been very, very liberating. Great outdoors. It's magical. Even when it makes you mad. Like, even when you're like, man, I got dirt all over everything that I own now. You know, if you get, on Family Guy, they made a joke that if you get sand in your backpack, you will literally never ever get that sand out for the rest of your life. They're like, oh, did you try turning it inside out? Yeah, of course, that was the very first thing that I tried. Garbage man is here. I expect my Pomeranian to bark any second now. He might not. Yeah, no, I guess not. Some days he chooses peace. Not very often. I'm really happy that we have garbage men. If there's anything I want you to take away from this video, it's garbage men. They deserve your respect, and they haven't been getting it for years. And there's an uprising going on underground. They had a meeting just last night. They decided that all non-garbage men rather, are going to be exterminated. I say garbage men, garbage people. Let's talk. All the garbage people will exterminate all the non-garbage people. just to show them that, like, you know, we meant something and you didn't care about us enough. And then the only people left on Earth will be really, really good at disposing of waste. The Earth will be a lot better, to be honest with you.